Hey everyone, Seasalt here, and welcome back to another guide for Karuta Bot. Before we get started, if you guys like this type of content, please subscribe and leave a like down below to help with the YouTube algorithm. My Discord server is also doing a giveaway every day this week, and if we hit 66 subscribers by next Friday, I'll do a massive 50 ticket or so giveaway to celebrate because 66 is my favorite number. Now let's get into it. Today's topic is something incredibly important and is a foundation for many aspects and fundamentals of the Karuta game itself, and that is the effort of the card. You can think of effort kind of like the stats of a card. If you were to draw a parallel to other games, strength, intelligence, movement speed, etc. Every card has a different amount of each stat. In Karuta, these stats make up the total effort of a card, and a higher effort card, given the same character, the same quality, like same dies, morphs, and frames and all that, will always be worth more than a lower effort card. Now, the command to view a card's effort is KWI. Let me just do that really quick. Let's do a mint card, frames false order by effort. Right. Okay, so if we look at Jonathan Joestar, this is his effort window, and you just type KWI followed by the card code to pull this up. And if you don't know what a card code is, I just made a video covering the basics of Karuta that you should definitely watch first, so feel free to watch that first. But now in this window, you're going to see a couple things. Base value corresponds to the base value of the card, which is directly related to its burn value, its claim rate, its burn rate, etc. Essentially, the more popular the card, the higher this number is going to be. So, for example, Jonathan Joestar, if you look at him up, Jonathan Joestar, right? His claim rate is 82%, which is pretty dang high. His burn rate is pretty low. There's only 522 burned out of around 10,000. But if you look at something like Dragon Ball Z Cell, right? If we look at his effort window, and then look up his Cell is 7. His base value is 59, which is much lower than Jonathan's 94, and that is because his claim rate is a lot lower, and in addition, his burn rate is a lot higher. So, essentially, the more popular the card, the higher this number is going to be. Now, just to pull this to the bottom, I'm gonna open it again. The next thing is dropper and grabber. Now, dropper and grabber is kind of a little bit confusing. They're always going to be S if you are the ones who dropped it and grabbed it. So if you drop this card and then you grab this card, they're both going to be S. But if you just grabbed it and you didn't drop it, then grabber is going to be S and dropper is going to be F. But remember, even if you grab a card you dropped and they're both S, if you sell this card to someone else, when they receive the card, it's going to be gone, like because they didn't drop it, right? Vice versa, it could happen to you as well. So whenever you buy a card based on effort, make sure you know what the effort is without grabber and dropper, and know that it could decrease by a certain amount because it's going to lose this effect, right? So if you go out and buy this card, for example, for like, let's say 15 tickets, and they're advertising it as 216 effort, you have to make sure that you KWI this card before you buy it, so that you know whether or not that 218 or 216 includes grabber or dropper in that calculation, which is sometimes shorthanded as G/D. Like no G/D in people's trading ads means no grabber and dropper. So be careful. Don't be too adamant on buying a high effort card if there's a grabber and dropper that will decrease it to 198 instead of buying a 216 effort card. Now, toughness is based on fight size, and when you go and grab a card, most servers have a anti-snipe function. That is, if you drop a set of cards, if you click on the reaction of the card within a few seconds, depending on the server, you will always get the card that you grab. This is because if you drop like a very popular card, like let's say like Nezuko from Demon Slayer, tons of people are going to try and grab it and get that card by reacting to that reaction. So the server kind of protects you in a way. If you click the reaction within, like I think 3 seconds for Karuta Hub, then you will get it no matter what. But toughness is awarded based on the amount of people you fight off to get the card, or in other words, the number of people that react to your card. So D is awarded for 1 other person fought off, C for 2, B for 3, A for 4, and anything above 5 and above is S. So because this card has a B, I fought off 3 other people when I got this card, when I claimed this card. So there is the number 4 in that reaction for this card slot. So therefore, I think an easy way to increase effort that I recommend to new players is to always be dropping in public servers where there are like a ton of people, like the server. That way, when you drop a good card, other people will be there and look at it and click on your card too, which gives this card higher toughness, which gives it a higher effort, which increases its value. Right, you can sell it back for more, or use it as a better worker for your job board. So quickness is based on grab speed. Grabbing it under 1 second will give you an S. So this was grabbed under 1 second. Anything between 1 and 3 is an A, and I don't know the rest. Honestly, if it takes you more than 3 seconds to recognize a good card and click it, it probably wasn't good anyway. The server is also kind of clunky sometimes, and when a bunch of people like type KD and stuff, it'll move your screen around. But just try to click on the reaction as fast as possible if you're sure that's the card you want. I am pretty sure I have like a photo of, or like a screenshot of like the way to get every grade for every effort modifier. So if that might be easier, I'll just put it up on the video if there is. But if not, then I'm sorry. Vanity is based on print numbers. So the lower your print number is relative to the overall cards generated of that card, the higher your print number is going to be. So basically, effectively, the longer you hold a card, the higher effort will be. Therefore, your effort is always going to be rising no matter what, because your vanity is always rising, because there's newer cards, there's newer Jonathan Joestars dropping every day. Vanity is capped out at 50% of base value. So 50% of base value here is 47. So the vanity, the max will ever be is 47. Purity is based on the quality of the card. The card will always start off as S quality, and this is a bit confusing, but every card will always start off with S purity, and that basically means you haven't upgraded it yet. But if your card is good quality, for example, instead of mint, you will need to upgrade your card once to excellent, and then another time for it to be mint. And every time you upgrade this card, the letter grade of purity goes down by 1. So upgrading a card that was dropped in excellent to mint will decrease it to A. If you want to upgrade a card from good to mint, that will make that into a B. And poor to mint is going to be C, and so on. Another thing to note is that some people are like, okay, so why upgrade your card anyway? Like, if it's going to decrease the letter grade for this, like, why upgrade it anyway? Sorry about that. But one thing to note is that upgrading a card will always increase the rest of all your other individual effort categories, like quickness, toughness, purity, wellness, grabber, dropper. All that will be increased every time you upgrade this character, right? I'm not saying it'll increase the letter grade itself, but at excellent, this card was not 9 grabber. This was a 4S grabber. At excellent, this card was not 19S quickness. It was like 11S quickness, right? So it's always good to upgrade the card to mint if you're sure that's going to be your worker. I think around doubles, generally around doubles. My rule of thumb is a card around 53 effort at good will be 190 effort at mint. But yeah, that's basically how it is. It's a bit confusing, so let me know if you guys have any questions down below. Wellness depends on whether or not the card is injured from working. I'll cover in another video. Style is fun. It's dependent on 3 things. It's if your card has a frame, a mystic die, or a die. A frame will increase the card's effort a huge amount. As long as mystic dies, it will increase it a huge amount. A normal die will increase it a decent amount. But framing a card gives it around 70 effort in my experience. I think 75. Same with mystics. A normal die only adds around like 25 effort or 20, I forget. But this is at mint quality. And don't be confused, you can only mystic die or die, so you can't like add them together, like mystic die card and then die it for like a 95 effort increase total. No, it's you can only choose one. After I've explained everything, right? Yeah. So why is effort important? I don't want to dive too deep into working yet, but the general premise is this, right? Everyone has a job board, which is effectively a list of 5 characters which you can swap out at any time. So I can swap out this Asuna for this Jonathan if I wanted to, but obviously the Asuna is 400 effort, which is higher. So I want the highest effort card on my job board. The job board combines the effort of all these 5 cards, and when you use the K work command, it will produce an item called a bit equal to the total of these 5 efforts, which is the contribution, right? So when I type K work, I've already worked today, so it wouldn't work, but it'll produce 2004 bits, which is equal to the total number of all the efforts of your card combined. Therefore, you want every individual card to be a higher effort to help you get more bits. And you can use bits to craft frames, you can use bits to morph cards. So the bottom line is this: the higher effort your cards, the more items you'll get, the more like money you'll get, like more the wealthier you'll get. So therefore, it's always important to aim for higher effort cards. A useful command at this point in time to check on the card dropped is KCI. So I've been using Jonathan Joestar. Thank you for being an example today, Jonathan. But if you type KCI and the card code, this window is going to pop up, right? And this menu shows a bunch of useful information. Now, by now, you should know most of this. I explained it in my previous video. This card code, quality, print number, edition, and the anime name, whatever. It also shows like when I dropped it and like the server, which is kind of cool. But the very important part is like this stuff, right? The card is owned by me. It's grabbed by me. It was dropped by me, and it was dropped in excellent condition. And it was grabbed after 0.5 seconds. So this gives me an S in my quickness. It dropped in excellent, so it gave me an A. It gave me an S in purity, and I upgraded once to mint, and I dropped down to an A. 3 users were fought off his card, so I think it was a B toughness. Yeah. And 2 upgraded attempts to this card. That's just for fun. If you do it for like a framed and die card, it'll also tell you which frame and which die you use, which is kind of cool. Let's for example, Joseph Joestar, his little friend here, own grab whatever, but it's framed with brass. It'll tell you it was dyed with this card as well, so it tells you like what it was framed to die, which is kind of cool. But this is a useful command to kind of see and check like what you dropped it in and all that if you forget. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the effort. I think sometimes when you're training with people, you're gonna see them say or type out in their ads like SSA or like BSA or ABD, or a combination of 3 letters. This refers to toughness, quickness, purity, because these are the only 3 things you can kind of like manipulate. Like wellness, you can't really do anything. Grabber and dropper, like you can't help it, right? If you didn't grab a drop, Vanity is going to increase on its own. Styles depend on the person. So these 3 things like are like the main things that people look for. So if someone says like BSA, that means B toughness, S quickness, and A purity. So this is it. So keep that in mind when you're trading. Another thing to note is that morphs do not help with the effort at all. It doesn't increase style. It just makes your card look cooler. So if you have bits, maybe just focus on that after you have a good set and rotation of work is available. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a rule of thumb, I know a bunch of you guys are wondering which cards to upgrade. People have been asking my server like what to upgrade, what to invest in to be a good worker. I think ideally you want the card to be 380 effort minimum at mint, with given the mystic and frame. So this card, Jojo, is framed and has a mystic die, and it's 408. So ideally you want it to have 380 minimum. That's around 210 at mint. This is for like a quote unquote good worker. Obviously it's going to be hard to get up there as a new player. So I would keep anything around like, let's say like 185 plus 190 plus mint, to just get started with workers on your board. And if you guys are in my server, I have this bot where you can type in KWI and code, and it shows you like, oh, what's going to be at if you apply a mystic in a frame, right? So for example, if I go KCO:F frame is equal to false, right? Let's go back to this guy Jonathan, right? If I type this, it will tell me, okay, right now it's 216 effort. It's at mint. If I die this card, normal die, it'll give me 24 effort, and it'll increase to 240. If I frame it, it'll give me 89. Well, that's a lot more than I expected. And then a combination of both. So if I mystic and frame it, it's gonna be 394, which is above that 380 threshold that I want it to be. So this is a worker that I want to invest in, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope it helped you guys kind of figure out what all this confusing effort modifiers means. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or suggestions, and feel free to join Discord, and hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one.